Hi guys, welcome to this video. And today I want to share psychic insight on these topics. So we're going to go through all of this: attack on our hearts, the collective heartbreak, children of God, terrains, and how many matrices or matrices. Before that, I just want to show you the playlist, especially for people who are new, which I know there are quite a few new people. So this is around 15 plus videos at this point. It's not that many, but these are videos that are really important to understand anything really that's going on this channel, especially if you just came across it. Some of them are 3+ years old. They build up on each other, and they each have something else, a different type of information in it that will help you in understanding all the other videos that are going to come. So check it out. New to this channel, start here. That's a playlist on the YouTube channel. And let's get into the other topics. So collectively, what I saw, what I was tapping into, when I was just trying to read on the overall energy, what's really going on is this massive collective heartbreak that's really been going on for the past few months, possibly much longer though, possibly for the past 3 or 4 years. And this was so painful and so massive. Like, I literally don't even want to show my face in these videos to come, because I think when I was tapping into this, I was crying for like 5 hours straight. Like, literally, it was so painful and so heartbreaking to really just read on that. And I think my one eye was even swollen for a few days. So yeah, it was intense, very intense. And so collectively, I'm just going to read from my notes here that I have. Collectively, our hearts are being under attack right now with a heartbreak. I'm going to call it the collective and personal heartbreak. Also, with people who got the you-know-what and who have been suffering from that, a lot of it is kind of through the heart, right? Like the blood clotting and everything, and people passing away through that. We're also on Earth right now. And if you switch heart around, the letters spell Earth, like heart, Earth. It's basically the same thing. There is a goddess that kind of tends to Earth or Hearth. So there are like 175, 200 goddesses or gods and goddesses. We're talking about the Greek gods in this case. So that might go into play more in the other video that I want to make on the gods and goddesses. But right now, what's happening is they're trying to break our hearts. And they also do that through separation, by the way. So all these separation agendas that are going on, not just in politics, but pretty much with every single thing, right? Oh, if you're not for this, you're against this. If you're against this, you're not for this, you're not on this side. So the entire separation agenda is just causing more heartbreak. On a collective level, I do want to point out again, I know people are probably tired of hearing of it, but this entire Israel-Gaza conflict, also the entire Russia-Ukraine conflict, which was set in motion in 2022, but even before that, 2014, all of those years before. So Gaza means treasure, and I'm still getting treasure. And what I actually saw is that there is this treasure right there in that Palestine area where they're trying to get to, where they're doing the entire genocide. And they don't care how many people are going to die, by the way, but they have not yet gotten to it. And by them, what I saw was more the politicians who are involved. Doesn't even matter from which country. Doesn't matter if it's from Israel. Doesn't matter if it's from Iran. Doesn't matter if it's from the US, from UK, from Yemen, from whoever. But all those huge players, and then also Hamas. So Hamas not being the good side in this case. So they want to get to this treasure, and Gaza is the treasure, but they can't get to it. And why do they want to get to it? What type of treasure is it? It was really hard to read on it, but it definitely felt like one of those portals to these other realities that are important. They want to steer your attention away from all of these areas. They want to steer it away from that area. They want to steer it away from Jerusalem for sure. There are even psychics out there lately who are completely trying to steer people away from Jerusalem by claiming that the crucifixion never happened there, by claiming that it doesn't even matter, you know, nothing's really real, what was ever there. The crucifixion in Jerusalem is one thing, but there were really powerful souls that actually walked those streets, including Alexander the Great, for people who didn't get that memo yet. And so that entire area, if you've never been there, for people who have been there, you know what I'm talking about. It feels like one of the most powerful areas ever, including Saudi Arabia around there and including Jordan around there too. So there are literally these huge channels out there that really want to steer your attention away from it by giving false information in regards to it. And unfortunately, people seem to be believing that. But that might be a topic for another video because there's more to it. Also what's going on in Yemen, what's going on in all these areas. So Iran's off limits for a lot of people. Iraq's kind of off limits too, even though tourism started over there, but no one really wants to go there. All those areas, powerful, 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 so powerful that they've been completely destroyed. And they really do contain a lot of information that people need, actually. You know, a lot of portals to these other realities that are important. And Gaza is just part of that equation too. And I know some people think it doesn't matter, or people are tired of talking about it at this point, but it actually matters a lot. Similar to how Maui also matters, and how the 8-8 portal ties into Maui too, which was completely hijacked. So collectively, that is part of the huge heartbreak. And then, of course, people are having their personal versions of heartbreaks. You know, people just dying, people passing away. I'm not talking about you maybe breaking up with a relationship or with a person. That is also a form of heartbreak, of course, and it can be detrimental for some. But these are like massive things that are happening right now. You know, really people passing on because they possibly took something they weren't supposed to take, and their body's just giving up, or just in general, people, you know, just dying. And I had that happen with people in my environment, with friends in my environment. I was talking about this entire Christmas energy and how it can bring up all those wounds and childhood wounds, and also many other wounds for families and relatives. So a lot of it happened around there too, which is why the energy felt really off around that time, more so than during the years before. And I actually don't even know. I didn't ask that many people, but I don't know a single person who had a great Christmas these past few weeks. I'm going to be honest. So I know people are picking up on it. So they started all of this for sure in October 2023 with that entire conflict. Of course, they already started it earlier, like years before that, you know, with 2020 agenda. But October was a pivotal point. And then the entire Christmas energy was another pivotal point. And so people are dealing with their own versions of their hearts breaking, and that's making the heart more vulnerable. And I'm not even talking about the actual heart, the physical heart, but the emotional, the energetic heart, just the heart in general. But of course, whatever is emotional, energetic, it's going to be in the physical, right? So if you have a weakened heart on the energetic level, you're going to pick up on that in the physical over the long run, unless you deal with that. So they're trying to break our hearts through the separation agenda too. We're going to have a huge election here in 2024 in the US. I don't have to tell you how much of a separation agenda they're trying to push. If you can stay out of it, stay out of it. For me personally, I'm not going to play in that separation game anymore. I don't think I ever really have, but I have seen it in people around me. We see it in every single person, right? When we just go to our personal lives or personal social medias and just see, you know, especially people who just don't get it, how they're still supporting one person over another. People who pass on. So this is really interesting because I had a few people, not personally my own relatives, but I had a few people who had the case where someone passed on. And in this particular case, the person was actually really young, and it was a huge shock to the family. Like, you'd really feel it, you know, it was, wow, shocking. And I don't want to say the cause of it, but what I got was that these people who are dying right now, they're actually not really passing on these days, but they're staying close, meaning close to whoever they were, the family they were with, staying close to reincarnate in the same bloodline or lineage with the same people, so that we all kind of stay close. The family seems to be really important right now, which also got me thinking that the white light tunnel, and you can talk a lot about the white light tunnel, but the white light tunnel may not even matter that much, or not as much as it used to. Because I personally have been seeing a lot of white light tunnel, not just one, but several. When I was doing sessions a few weeks ago, all of a sudden I saw like 10 different ones, and it was one wormhole after another. So there's not even just one you're dealing with, by the way. There are several, like X amount of white light tunnels we're dealing with. But it may not even matter that much, because people who are passing on right now, at least the ones who I tapped into their energy, they're actually staying energetically kind of like behind the veil in that spirit realm. They're staying really close to whoever their family was. Grief is important. The worst advice that I've heard over these past few weeks is another major psychic who's supposedly been doing this for 20, 30 years. And this is why I cannot take anyone serious anymore who says, oh, I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. You know, you should all be listening to me because of it. Because they don't work on themselves anymore. I feel they just take the same advice or give the same advice they've been giving for the past few decades, and that's it. They don't care to tap more into this. But basically, this psychic was saying that, oh, you shouldn't be grieving this person more than just maybe a few days or whatever. You need to make sure that this person moves on to the next level or wherever they need to be. Otherwise, their grief is going to keep their soul here. And that was the biggest BS advice I've ever heard, because grieving is so important. Grieving can heal the heart. And I also feel most people with large followers really don't know what they're talking about. Like, there's nothing of real value that they're adding. And sometimes it's even really bad advice that they're giving, and it's more confusing than anything. But in this particular case, it was really, really bad. And I'm really happy that the person didn't listen to them, because they were saying, don't grieve that relative like too much. Otherwise, you're going to keep them here. It's no, the spirit's going to be here no matter what, because they want to come in again through that same lineage. There was a comment that was basically saying, I don't understand how, we just reincarnate over and over again with the same bloodline. That wasn't always the same case. I want to point this out. Let me see if I can see this comment, if I can pull this up real quick. Why do you think that ancestors are reincarnated through the same bloodline as opposed to just anywhere else? I haven't heard that one before, wondering where it came from. So this came from me, okay? I haven't really heard anyone else talk about that. I just want to say that too. And I think I've been saying this for the past 2-3 years already, but it wasn't always this way. You know, a few hundred years ago, the huge bloodlines, the huge lineages, especially like the royal lineages, if you just go to the entire British houses, like the Tudor regime, the Stuart regime, all of those, they died out because people were not reincarnating through that anymore. But nowadays, what does appear to be the case, at least for the past 100 plus years, is that people tend to stay in the same bloodline because the souls kind of want to stay together, because kind of like the only way you can get out of here is by staying together. For a lack of a different way to explain it, I hope that makes sense to some people. Let me go back to this list here. Okay, so attack on our hearts. And the attack on our hearts can be massive, like a person passing away or like these global events happening, but it can also be smaller, just like one attack, one, like kind of like little needles in your heart. So just be aware of that too. It is important to heal your heart, but you have to first understand that your heart's under attack. And for me personally, I knew there was a heartache that I was experiencing, and I didn't allow myself to really like, I don't want to say grief, but I didn't allow myself to grieve. I didn't allow myself to even cry for months on end. It just wouldn't happen. I'm not a person who really cries much anyhow. But when I was tapping into this, literally 5 hours straight, I was basically crying like I had never before. And so there is this thing where we just have to let it happen and let our feelings and emotions through in order to understand how we can heal from it. The children of God. Okay, so this is also interesting. God, not in a religious way, but basically another vision that I was kind of getting was that we're all here, wherever we are on this terrain, on this secluded area of Earth, because obviously there's way more, right? Like we're kind of like in this let's just say it's a fenced-in area. So we're in this fenced-in area. It's extremely polluted at this point, no matter where you go. There are very rare countries or very rare areas that are not polluted by plastic, polluted through the skies, polluted through everything, the water, chemicals. So we're playing in it right now, even though if we could manage to get over that fence, and the fence feels like it's just an extension of the area we're in right now. So we're playing in this right now, and we're trying to make things work. And even though it's all polluted, it's all filled with the worst ever, we can still do a lot, can still manifest a lot. We can still be happy. We can still come together. We can still show that unconditional love. We can still bring our hearts into it. But it's almost like there are these other things around us, say it's like the gods, or say it's like these other huge entities that are kind of observing us while we're just kind of playing here. And we've kind of forgotten ourselves in the game anyhow, like I already said in a different video, right? Like, sure, we're being mind wiped, we're being put under all these spells, and like it's very hard to get to our true soul connection for a lot of people, at least. So we just kind of have to try to bring our playfulness back into our lives, our creativity, really important. But we're really being bogged down because they're putting so much responsibility in our lives. The older you get, right, the more from the childhood and from the inner child that you get, the more you're kind of seeing, oh, there's bills to pay, there's this that I have to do, I need a mortgage, so now I need a proper job, so now I have a child I have to take care of. So we're losing ourselves in this game over and over again through all the responsibilities that they're putting on us. Whereas in the inner purity of us, the inner child of us, the inner teenager in us is still there and needs to be heard and needs to be spoken with, if that makes sense. So what we need is go back to our roots in that sense. We need that joy, that playfulness, like finding the joy again. And you find that through the heart connection, by the way. And so I feel it all just ties back into the heart again. I'm just jumping from one note to another because they're all over the place, at least the way that I wrote them down. Okay, so us being the children of God, and you can just replace God by universe too, but that's the word that came to me. Wanting to play, wanting to be merry, wanting to be joyful. We want to be creative, and creativity, I feel, is a huge part of the heart connection, by the way. Once we lose that, and I feel everyone's creative. It's not just a person who's interested in painting. It's not just a person who's interested in poetry. Everyone has a form of creativity, and creativity is bringing the magic into this world. Jumping around despite all the shit and bad smells and chemicals and everything that's around us, but being locked in, but still kind of being able to make the most out of the environment we're in. Random things breaking our hearts. So many hearts broken right now. Having compassion, seeing both sides of everything, both sides of the coin. People from Ukraine, Russia, and the Soviet Union having their hearts not as healed because of what was done to them. I want to say in the Soviet Union, and also because of the politics playing out in those areas. So, I mean, this is a bit, especially for people who are from those areas, people seem very cold from those areas, right? They don't seem as connected to their hearts as in other places on Earth, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So they're not in touch with their hearts. They're more like in touch with their heads who are from those areas, because other things were really promoted, like mathematics, chemistry, physics, all of that. But yeah, it seems whatever was done to them under those regimes. How many matrices or how many matrices? So it does appear there could be quite a few. But it feels like the one we're in right now, that this is the main one and the one that matters the most. Also, what I keep getting over and over again is that we have to play in the game to really change things. So I know some people are like, okay, once I pass on, I'm going to get out, and that's great. And I do hope we all get out in one way or another, or several different ways. But it does appear, and I feel this also ties into why the souls that are passing on, why they're kind of staying close to whoever they're with, to whoever family they had. It does appear that, first of all, it's easier to do that collectively. And second of all, we kind of have to play in the game in order to massively change something. And yeah, of course, there are all these other realities, and I see them all the time too, where, oh, all of a sudden we're somewhere in like a different version of a Matrix movie or whatever, like you're somehow on a ship and you're somehow tubed into something, like Neo was tubed into all of that. But that doesn't seem to be the main ROM or the main reality. It seems like this reality, which everyone remembers, is the main one. And in order to really change something, you still need to be here, which ties back into why suicide is probably not going to work for most people or almost everyone. And I know that's hard to believe for some, especially the people who really promote that we're in the hell realm and that you should just exit yourself when you want to. But that's just what I got on that. The Ankh. Okay, reading on the Ankh again. I mean, so many reads on it. Seems to be a portal to the heart as well. So it seems to be a portal to another world, for sure the underworld, but also a portal to the heart. There are certain areas that hold more energy than others. The tunnel of white light is a wormhole, and there are several tunnels instead. Aside from weakening the heart, miles, I kind of saw miles as lies. So if someone says, oh, that's so far away, or you're so far away, distance actually does not matter. The number 8, all about community. So I know I had this YouTube live recently where we were going through the entire numerology of 8, because we're currently in an 8 year. And I feel this is going to be really important, especially for the Lionsgate portal, which New Agers are going to push, and the entire 8-8, which they're going to hijack again. But basically, 8 is also all about community. The 8-8 portal, which is the August 8th date, hijacked. And last year in 2023, it was hijacked through or with the Maui ritual, which was exactly that. It was a ritual. And just seeing how many people passed away. I personally didn't even know this, but I was following this one girl who had moved to Maui, I think back in 2017, 2018 already, and she had moved from Washington State. And she was there. I didn't even know she was still there because I was recently started to look her up again on social media. But she actually passed away in that entire chaos that was happening in Maui. And one of the major reasons no one had really even heard about her or hadn't even really considered her until a few months later, which was up until recently, was because she wasn't part of the community. Like she had completely lost herself there. I feel someone told me when I was getting in touch with people, asking around, they were telling me that she was even homeless for several stretches. So community is really important, really, really important. And she had completely lost touch of that. She didn't have a proper community there. It's important for the people there in Maui to still have a heart and compassion. And Maui has been going through their own version of hell because of whatever happened, but I feel it had to do with that 8-8 energy for sure. I wrote some questions down right here, which we can try to go through. So I want to talk about the gods and goddesses a little bit more in the next energy. Is a Tesla, it's just random, scalar weapon or free electricity, or is it glorified? I feel Tesla is for sure glorified. It probably had its purpose. Right, Adam, Eve, and Lilith in the tree of knowledge. Okay, so when I was tapping into this, it felt to me that Adam and Eve were more of like the two true ones, whereas Lilith felt very evil somehow and more on the darker side. Did not have the same energy as Adam and Eve. We're feeling the repercussions of the 8-8 portal being hijacked right now too. Once you take care of a soul or a being, it's a bond for life. And this also goes with kids, for people who have kids. They're trying to disconnect us from our true essence and soul. Now, some people are really fixated on it only matters that we have souls here. And, for me personally, if you've been following this channel for the past 3 or 4 years already, I know at one point I probably thought similar. But I just want to point out, yes, it is important to connect with the souls for sure. And I do think the souls are in a minority here, wherever we are. Whatever number that is, doesn't even matter for this video. But the people who are saying it's only the soulless beings, only the robots, only the demons, only, whoever doesn't have a soul, that are being nasty and messing up your life, I kind of disagree. Because I've had that happen with souls as well, that souls can actually be quite nasty when they're bitter, when they don't know their own power, when they don't really know anything really because they haven't been woken up yet, or they don't want to wake up, and when life gets to them. So does it matter that you're connecting to souls? Yes, souls in general together can be more powerful, but they can also ruin your life to a certain degree, or they can really break your heart and set you back on this entire path that we're on. Colors matter. So every color that's out there carries a power and has a meaning. That's for people who like colors, maybe wearing different colors or painting in different colors. Everything around you teaches you something, being responsible for someone or something. But also you teach them something too. Okay. I'm going to do the rest in the other video, but more questions. Can someone possess your heart or your soul? So I feel it's not even so much about possession. Yes, it can happen, I feel, to some people. But I feel with most people, it's not so much about possessing your soul, because I feel possessing the soul is very hard. But it's more about kind of breaking that heart into several different pieces and then making it smaller, kind of chipping away on the heart. And how's everything playing out in the parallel? So whatever's happening in the past, so if everything's playing out in the parallel, whatever's happening in the past, you can change that by just changing right now the current circumstance. Are souls, humans, or bots needed to power this game, or the Matrix in general? It felt like souls at one point were needed to power wherever we are right now. Call it the Matrix, call it another version of a game. But since AI is trying to take over, it almost feels like they almost don't need the souls anymore to power their game. Meaning everything is going to be converted to AI. They're trying to convert every single aspect of your life into AI, which is basically, you're seeing that everywhere. You're seeing that in jobs being replaced by AI. You're seeing that in your entire social media, all people really being put in front of the AI, in front of the screens, in front of everything. And I know you're looking at a screen right now too. But at one point, yes, I do think the souls were needed to power this game. And I still think they need a certain type of energy from that, but it seems less than it used to be. It seems less than it was maybe a few decades ago, or maybe even just a few years ago. Let me know what you think about that. I'm gonna shut this video down, and we're gonna talk about the other things in the next video. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you so much for your support, and talk to you very soon. Bye, guys.